If you're watching this, you already finished the section where you were solving for y. I put a couple problems on there just so you guys can see it. Now, I'm going to go over how to solve system of equations. So this is the system of equations video. If you think you can do system of equations, I also have it on the board. Look at it, and if you can just do it by looking at that, I know some of you might be able to. Not everybody. Go ahead and try it out. So system of equations. We have system of equations, and again, we're going to do substitution. In this case, there are going to be a couple problems that you're going to see. You're going to see a problem like this, and I'm only going to do 2 different problems, just so you guys get used to it. And then we might have different problems later. Actually, I'm going to do a few. Got to do 3 problems, okay? So 3 problems, I'm going to show you how to do all 3, and then you can do your work. I'm going to try and do it fast so I don't waste your time, you know? The worst thing that you can do is waste people's time. So that's one set of system of equations. So, just overall, what system of equations? 2 equations? Or more, right? 2 or more equations. I'm just going to put EQ just so I don't write equations like 1,000 times. 2 more equations. Now, there's going to be an x value, and a y value. Okay, and you're going to have to figure those 2 out. Okay? If you're graphing multiple equations, system of equations solution. Okay, so, and it has to be true for both of them. Okay, true. That you're going to have an x and a y value. Before I get ahead of this, if you're graphing this stuff, you're going to notice that you're going to have 2 lines, and your solution for systems is the point in which both lines are touching. Okay, that's whenever we're graphing. Okay, we're going to be doing that later, so just keep that in mind. Right now, we're just going to be showing you how to solve them by hand. So this is the first problem that we got. Okay, so we have 2 equations, right? So equation, I'm going to call it equation A and equation B. We have 2. Now, does that make it a system of equations? Yes. So that makes it a system of equations. You need 2 equations or more. Now, second step, we need to figure out a value for y and a value for x. If you look at this problem, it's actually a really nice problem for you guys. You're going to notice that you're going to have y equals -5. Okay? So, do I already know my value for y? The answer is yes. So my answer for y is going to be -5. I don't have to do anything because the problem is telling me already that that's one of my answers. Okay? Now let's look at the second equation. Do I know what x is by looking at my second equation just like that? No, obviously not. So I know one of my answers is going to be y, right? Now I need to find the answer for the second one. So the way that we're going to be doing this, you're going to notice the 5. And you know why is it called substitution? We're going to grab this 5 right here. And we actually going to plug it in right there. That's why it's called solve by substitution. We're going to have to substitute one of the variables after we figure out one of the variables. And then we're going to plug it in. Okay? So that's the first step. So now, all I'm going to do, I'm going to plug that -5 into that y. And this is this type of problem. This is type A problems, right? There are different type of problems. This is type A. So they give you one of the answers already, and you just have to plug it into the other equation. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 5x plus 4 times -5. Make sure you put the parentheses as well. -20. Okay. Now I'm going to solve for x. Oh no. There we go. Solve for x now. So if you can see, I know that 5x equals what's 4 times -5? -20. and then equals negative 20. Right? Very simple. What am I going to do now? I'm going to go ahead, do plus 20. Plus 20 because I'm solving for x, right? So I need to leave x by itself. If you saw the previous video, you saw how we solve for y. This time I'm solving for x. Alright, I'm going to do plus 20 on both sides. Once I do that, you're going to notice those two are canceled out. Actually, those two cancel out too. So we're going to have 5x is equal to 0. What am I going to do to leave the x alone? I'm going to divide both sides by that. So in other words, x is equal to 0. As you can see, my answer is going to be x is equal to 0 and y is equal to what? Negative 5. So I know x is equal to that and my y equals to that. So that's my answer. And that's all you got to do for the type A problem. Okay, now let's go back to a little harder problem. And whenever you get a problem like this, I want you guys to do it this way. So this is this type of problem. So you're going to have, this is type B. And we're going to have another one in which I'm just going to go and explain it a little bit. Not going to show the whole process, just show you a little bit of it. So negative 3x plus 4. And then we're going to have the other equation is going to be equals to 3x minus 2. Okay, that's another system of equations. So you can see we have two equations. And now we need to solve. Okay, if you get it, this is problem B. Okay, this is problem B. And you're going to notice that both of my equations says y equals. If you get a problem like this, what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to actually equal both equations to each other. What do I mean? So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. 3x plus 4 is equal to 3x minus 2. And remember, you can do this only if those two both, I'm going to put, I don't know what, put S, both are y equals. Okay, this is problem type B. Okay, if both are y equals, you can do this. It's different from the previous one, as you notice, because we already over here, we already had the answer for one of the points. Okay, this one, we don't have any of the points, but both of them are y equals. So we're going to go equal to each other. At this point, all you have to do is just solve for x. So this might be a little harder, so I'm going to show you what I would do. First, I'm going to move x. I'm going to have to move one of the x's to the other x. So I'm going to pick this negative x, and I'm going to move it to the other side. So the way that I'm going to move it, I have to do the opposite, right? Those two cancel out. And if you notice over here, I have two of like terms, right? X and x both are like terms, so I'm going to combine them. So it's going to be 6x minus 2. Right? Over here, I'm just going to drop whatever's left, so it's positive 4. Now, here, what I want to do, now I want to solve for x. I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to move the 2. So it's going to be plus 2, plus 2. Those two cancel out. And over here, that becomes 6 equals 6x. At this point, just divide both sides by 6. And my answer is going to be 1 is equal to x. So that's the first thing that you got to do. Now I know x is equal to 1. Okay. Now I have to figure out what my y value is, because whenever you work in this type of problem system of equations, you need to get a value for y and you need to get a value for x. So we need to figure out the value for y. So I'm going to pick whichever equation I want. You can pick whichever. So I'm going to actually pick the one that has a positive 3 on the x, because I don't want to deal with negatives. You know, I never liked them. So I'm going to pick that one. You can pick whichever. So I picked that one. Now let me just change colors here. I'm going to rewrite the problem, and I'm going to substitute, because we're doing substitution. I'm going to substitute the x for the x. So I'm going to rewrite it. It's going to be y is equal to 3 parentheses 1, because I'm substituting, right? Minus 2. Okay, so what is 3 times 1? 3. Minus 2. Y is also equal to 1. And that's my answer. So y is equal to 1. That is type B. Okay? That is type B. Like I said, I'm going to put it on the board so I can show every step. But that's going to be type B problems. Now, there's one more problem, and then this is going to be it. This is the longest. So if you already know how to do this, you can go ahead and do it. But now, I'm just going to show you the type C. Type C problem, it's going to be type B and A kind of combined. So type C. Okay? What you're going to have to do on type C, you're going to get something like this. Yes, so you're going to get something x minus y is equal to 3. And then you're going to get 7x minus y equals to negative 3. This is a type C problem. Same system of equations. We have two different equations, and we're going to have to find a value for x and a value for y that makes the whole thing true. So to begin with, you're going to have to solve for y on both of them. You're going to have to solve for y. I'm going to show you real quick how to do this, even though I already showed how to solve for y before. Minus x. Those two cancel out. I'm going to bring the 3 down, right? I'm going to have negative y is equal to negative x plus 3. Now, in order to get rid of the negative, you always multiply by a negative 1 or divide by negative 1. Doesn't matter. You can use whatever. Okay, so what the negative is going to cancel negative in front of the y. So now I have y is equal to x minus 3. That's my first equation. That's my answer for the first one. Now let's do the second one. Same thing. You're going to write it out. You always move your x first. So in this case, it's going to be negative 7, right? On both sides, negative 7. But remember, the 3 goes right next to it. Those two cancel out. I'm going to bring down whatever's left. Negative y is equal to negative 7. And remember, this time we have a negative 3, so we're going to have to put the negative. There we go. Now, on both sides, we're going to divide by negative 1. Negative 1, but remember, this is parentheses because you have to multiply to the whole thing. So we're going to get those two cancel out. Y is equal to positive 7, right? Because the sign changed. Plus 3. And that's my answer for the second one. After that, you're going to have to equal them to each other and do exactly the same thing that we did on type B. Okay? So that's how you're going to be doing this type of problems. I know this one took a little longer, but like I said, if you already kind of know how to do some of this, go ahead and try it. But this is kind of like the review, okay? I know it's a lot of stuff to cover, but I know a lot of you forgot how to do a lot of these things. So that's going to be it. See you guys on the next one.